Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Creator Spotlight. I am Stella, your host, and in this playlist, I invite intuitive creators who transform their lives by embracing who they are, by embracing their paths, and now are on a mission to help other people connect with themselves and embrace their paths too. So today we have a very special episode because I have two guests here with me. I have Jessica and Gemma. They are the co-founders of Cumasú Cailíní, and they will explain more about that. This is a holistic path of spiritual awakening and feminine empowerment, and I cannot wait to hear more about their work and their mission. Hi, Gemma and Jessica. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having us, Goddess. It's a pleasure.
Hello, and thank you, Stella, also, yes, for having us here. Excited to share with you our new birthings.
Absolutely. I was sharing with you just before we started recording this episode that as I looked through your social media and your website, I could just feel your beautiful energy. And it's interesting how both of you decided to collaborate together and bring this energy into the world. So let me ask you this. How did you know you want to work together and you want to create this project or this business together?
So we've been doing some work together with our modalities, just supporting each other on our healing journeys. And yeah, I just felt really called. I think our energies work beautifully. I think we've got a great balance in terms of our strengths and what we feel like we can, learn from each other. And just how we have held each other, and from that we've really created and felt like we have needed a space that we can share this with other sisters, right? Share our teachings, share our knowledge, the tools that we use that support us every day. And yeah, which is where the Rose Serpent was created and Cumasú Cailíní has been created. Yeah, it's just happened so naturally, which is so beautiful. It's just felt effortless.
It feels like it, as I said, just by reading your story and what you chose to bring into the world. So I know that in your work, you blend this modern healing with ancient wisdom. What does it mean to both of you to walk this path of the rose and the serpent? Gemma, would you like to share?
Yeah, so Jessica and I met about 5 years ago on priestess training. So, and Jessica has been in Bali and done her tantric Taoism.
Tao Tantric arts, yes.
There we go. And so she'd already dived very deep, and we came together as sisters, and knowing that it was non-negotiable that we was to walk the path of the rose. But when you dive deep, some real stuff comes up. And so for the next few years, I'd seen, and I'd done it myself, and I'd seen so many people rush into service. And no judgment with that, but I had a bit of an epiphany of an awakening and a real questioning, some really deep questions in my life. And at that time, I decided to retreat and step back, and that's where me and Jessica become a lot closer. And we held each other, and we on online ceremonies, just one another in person, and we just committed first of all to really diving even deeper than we had already with ourselves. And it was just in that the emergence of the service to help other people was born. And that was because you say, well, why do you walk this path? It like you just shared with us about these interviews that you're facilitating, it was non-negotiable. We couldn't keep it to ourselves. These aren't our teachings. They are ancient teachings that you will find across the world, you know, explained a little bit differently, shared differently, but the teachings are there, you know, they're written in the stars. And we chose once again to commit ourselves to sharing this with women, and also in a really safe, sacred space. So, you know, we've walked part of our paths without being supported, and that's why we ended up supporting each other. And so we really wanted to create true, authentic holding and true, authentic sisterhood, where women could feel really safe with other women.
That sounds so beautiful, and it sounds like, Jessica, you were there for Gemma when she needed your help, and sometimes just to have that person holding the space for you, it can help so much. And when you talk about, yes, it's a non-negotiable, I so relate to that, because you just have to listen to that calling, and then you just have to follow it. I say just, but of course it is a journey, and it's with ups and downs. And I totally agree with the fact that yes, we are of service, but then when we are going through our own healing, it is totally okay to take a step back and process that. And I know, Jessica, you've been through a lot. You've been through health issues. How did that like open your, maybe your mind, your heart to the path that you're embracing now?
Yeah, so I did my teacher training 6 months before my diagnosis. So I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And that for me, obviously, it chucks you into a whole minefield of just questioning, of knowing that I needed to heal on a deeper level. And actually, I just learned all of these incredible tools, which to me, when I look back, it's like the universe had given me everything that I needed, you know, to awaken and to acknowledge, and just to discover who I am truly and my authentic self, you know. I feel like the healing on my cancer healing journey, it wasn't anything like I would have expected. You know, it wasn't just diet, it wasn't just juicing. It was so much on a deeper level of actually, yeah, just discovering who I am, loving myself on a whole nother level, discovering self-worth, facing my fears, facing my edges, speaking up. So even things like today, as Gemma said, has always been a huge edge for me, sharing my voice. And even dancing for me at a time was, I used to be terrified of being seen. Dancing and feeling fully embodied. So even, you know, stepping into movement and singing and just communicating and being held by my sisters, by Gemma on this journey has just been so supportive. And I think it's so important for women, regardless of where they're at on their healing journey, we need to feel safe for us to start unraveling, right, these layers of things that we need to start looking at. And yeah, that was so important to me, to find the women that I was able to be truly myself with. And as I was discovering what that even looked like, you know. So yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey of me rediscovering who I am and rediscovering my joy and my happiness, and using all of these incredible tools that keep bringing me back into balance, you know. Life is, it doesn't mean that, you know, I feel like healing is continuous. It's never ending. So actually, just to have these tools, to have these sisterhoods, these women who can support us when things are coming up, has been just, it's just been profound. It really has been such a huge, important part of my journey, you know.
It is inspiring to listen to somebody's story who said, you know what, yes, I connect with this diagnosis. I can't even imagine what you have been through in that moment. But then you understood that you have to go on such a deep level to connect with who you are and your body as well, because yes, we are souls, but we also are in these bodies in this lifetime, and this body will tell us, will send us so many signals, like when something is wrong, when there is not like a balance. And it's like, yeah, it is inviting us to come back to who we truly are. And thank you so much for sharing that, and Gemma and Jessica. And now I know that both of you are creating this beautiful space for other women to connect with themselves and who they truly are. So what would you say, what role does sacred feminine energy play in the healing and empowerment journey of women today? What would you say? What role would you say that plays, Gemma?
Yeah, I'd open this up by saying we work with the sacred feminine. But for those that don't understand what that truly means yet, we lead with the sacred feminine, but within every key, and you could say every energy point and every part of the healing journey is about unity consciousness. So it is about balancing the divine masculine and feminine within us. But when leading with the feminine, and you'll see that the men are actually going to be leading with the feminine too. And what that is that nurturing, gentle, unconditional love. It's present when you feel safe enough to be vulnerable, and it requires you to be vulnerable and to open yourself and open your heart, open yourself to your feeling body and your emotions. They are your absolute keys in order to move forwards and to shift and to change. A lot of people relate this journey to a spiritual journey. It is, but you know, these are quite touche words. And a lot of the time when we think of that, we want to ascend up and work with these higher energies. But what sometimes we're missing, which we really is an importance for us, is to be in our bodies. So like you said, your body will communicate with you. But again, until you feel embodied and safe and compassionate towards yourself, then you won't be able to reach deeper levels. So yeah, Jess, you might have some stuff to share on that there too.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's figuring out the balance, and I think that we need to have that our masculine self to allow our feminine self to surrender, right? To trust, and it's trusting that we can hold ourselves as well as being whole. And I guess learning how to do that in a space, being supported by other sisters, it's just been so transformational. Like, I've shifted so much in these spaces, and I'm just so excited. Like, I know some women might have a lot of sort of adversity, if that's the right word, of working with other women or being around so many other women. It's not something that, if it isn't something that they're used to. But actually I've discovered, and yeah, it was very much new to me, of actually how powerful these energies are, and when we come together, how much like magic we can create, you know, and how much we can shift, and how much you learn from other women as well, I think is so beautiful and incredibly powerful.
Imagine like everybody bringing all of those powerful energies and lessons and just their love and their beautiful hearts into that place. And I know that this is something you are now facilitating within your business. When you talk about like the balancing the feminine and the masculine energy, if there is anyone watching us now who's thinking, okay, this sounds beautiful, but I'm kind of new to all of this, like the spiritual world. Is there a particular way in which you would explain the balance between feminine and masculine within ourselves? Gemma, would you like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I was just having some thoughts thinking, oh my God, there's so much more I can say here. Because this isn't just about, this is contextual. So you could take it higher and higher and higher, and you're still going to have this conversation around masculine and feminine energy. You know, even going up to the level of talking about God and or creator, or the universe, the divine, whatever it is that you relate to. But I suppose when we use the word, especially in English, masculine and feminine, there's this distortion of male and female. And yes, that may exist inside of it, but this is yin and yang is another way, you know, people might have heard those energies. It's light and dark. It's this polarity that we are both. We came from mum and dad, from that masculine and feminine. So within all of us is balance. But what life has created for us, and all of our ancestral beliefs and DNA that's come through, all my ears just changed. You know, there's past life, there's collective, there's so much baggage that is within ourselves, which creates an imbalance. It creates stagnation. We're just slightly off kilter. But so is the earth, unless it's equinox, right? And the earth represents us. So nothing is wrong. We're not broken. We're committing to harmony and balance in our life. And our body and our life are two representations of each other. So you might have someone that has a real chaotic life, or there's stuff showing up in their life they want to change. And we're going to lead them back to the body. And then you might have somebody who's got physical ailments that's showing up that they want to heal. And that will be represented in their life. And then that's perhaps where we need to go out and you know, have a look at what's going on there, or our relationship to what's going on there, because that's what it's down to, really. But yeah, so for those that haven't stepped onto this pathway, that balancing of masculine and feminine is creating balance in your energy fields, which your body exists inside of. And there's plenty of different ways we create that, or we head towards it. But that is, yeah, all of the practices, the rituals, the life choices, the diet, everything that we choose in our life is, hopefully, or we're encouraging and inviting you to have the context of harmony and balance there for you, so that you can live a healthy, alive life. You know, let's keep on living while we're alive and waking up.
Oh, I love that you said, like, you know, there is this perception of like male and female, or people might immediately think about that kind of definition of like balancing the idea of being male or female. But in reality is the energy that you are balancing. And that's why we sometimes feel that we're in flow of creation. We want to just download information and sit with that creation. And there are other times when we want to put that in practice, and we just go through these beautiful changes. But like the more we are aware of like where we're at, the more beautiful it is to then share this journey with others. And I absolutely love how you described it, Gemma. And when we talk about the like, because you know, when you connect with women, right, you will often see them either feeling disconnected from their own feminine energy and being too much into the masculine, like I'm gonna do and achieve and stuff like that. Or you might see women who don't want to go into that energy, the masculine energy, or the I just want to be in the creation mode and I don't even want to enter that space of doing things. Like for someone who is like either one way or heading one way or the other, where can they start from in order to balance these energies?
It depends where they're at, really. Sorry, yeah, go Jess.
Yeah, I think that's something that's a constant sort of working out. Like I find myself more comfortable in my flow and my creative energy, but I know that I need my masculine structure, you know, the discipline, the organizational skills, like even like this communication, right, showing up in this way for me is very much stepping into my masculine energy. So yeah, I guess that within facing our edges and figuring out, I guess, what we do feel more comfortable in, and when the opportunities arise for us to step into more of our masculine energy, to step up and say yes, I think that all of the practices that we do, and obviously in every key on our journey, on the pathway that we have created, there is a balance of both. So whether that's breath work, meditation is seen as more of a masculine practice because it's stillness, whereas there could be dance and movement, which obviously you're then more in your feminine energy. So yeah, I think that there's different practices that can embody both, that you can use to also, and like with breath work, there's more of a masculine breath work, and then there's more of a feminine breath work. So you can really sort of, yeah, pick and choose, I would say, and feel into what feels more uncomfortable, but feeling why your energy doesn't, so align to that archetype or that masculinity or your femininity.
Gemma, did you want to add anything? Because I know you wanted to share.
There's things that keep popping in, and then I'm like, I come back to them. I think that we live in a masculine world, and I think when people get pushed into a feminine space of I'm going to say of nothing, of no thing, of no thing to do, people get really lost. Jessica and I was having a conversation the other day about somebody and that was going through this similar experience, and it was like you don't want to stop or pause or have time to do nothing, because that's where stuff starts to come up in your mind. You start to think. And so people really struggle to surrender into the feminine, and what I mean is to surrender into doing nothing. Not to doing, but just literally being. People go, well, what do I do here? We're back into doing, and we are not void of this. So this still happens to us, but we're way more comfortable in it, and sitting in those uncomfortable spaces and not having well, we do have a plan of our life, but I mean, we, from being at, grammar school and university, I was, a high achiever. I had my life planned out. I've got to do this and this and this, and if you don't do this, then nothing's going to happen. And that's gone. I don't live that life anymore. But there was a huge transition, and inside of that transition of like, well, what are we doing? That human doing rather than human being. You get a whole lot of like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. And I've had this conversation with multiple people that are like, I feel like I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't want to do like I used to do, and in this doing, like, I don't feel good. And there's just so much that comes up as we transition into feminine. And then again, you could then be so in your feminine that nothing is happening in your life at all. You're literally away with the fairies. And that masculine needs to come in, whether that's an external masculine figure in your life or this is always going to come back to you, your internal masculine that isn't leading yourself. If you're not leading yourself with a healthy masculine, then the feminine won't feel safe enough to come out. So we're talking about masculine and feminine energy. None of us don't have one or the other. We all have an equal amount of masculine and feminine. But what life and programming and cultural beliefs has happened is that we have a distortion to both of them. So a lot of us are living out of our distorted masculine and distorted feminine, or let's just say an unhealthy relationship or more of a resistance energy, rather than a flourishing and a blossoming into both of those energies, and also not being so hard on ourselves and seeing life as a journey and a school, and how we're unraveling, we're unpicking these beliefs of like, well, this is just who I am, this is what I believe, this is just how things are, to go, yeah, but what is it that you truly believe when you sit with that concept, as opposed to you were just taught it? So yeah.
Oh, both of you shared such beautiful points, and I'm sure that our viewers will relate to so much of what you said. And Jessica mentioned like different practices, and I love that, because then you will only know what kind of practice is good for you when you'll start trying different practices. And this is so important, because then you, especially when you search for a safe place, when you can do that, you know that you're not going to be judged if you're not doing it correctly, if it doesn't resonate with you, and then you'll find something that works with you. And Gemma, I so agree with you that we live in this world where like everything is about do, and especially with social media, it's about scrolling as well, and it's always your mind is occupied with something. And I think in this busy world, it became scary for a lot of people to actually say, what will happen if we'll just turn off like everything for a moment? We had a power cut yesterday, we're recording this episode, for just a few minutes. And it was very interesting to experience that, because you know everything is down, like you don't have TV, you don't have, even your fridge is not working, just for a few minutes. But then it makes you think, it's silence. What happens there in silence? What kind of thoughts are coming in? And it's so interesting to observe, and to observe in a very non-judgmental way as well, because maybe we've had certain beliefs, but then when we sit in that silence and we scan through what's happening in our body and mind and soul and heart, then there can be new things that come through. And it's so important to be in that non-judgmental space. So I know that for both of you, sisterhood and community seem very central to your work. So why would you say like these beautiful spaces are so important, especially in the world that we're living now?
I think that we need more of these spaces, you know. I think that's really important, that we're only going to need more of these spaces. More and more people are waking up and looking for, you know, outlets to do the deeper work and to really, yeah, just discover who they are and what their mission is in this world. And I think that when we do find a place where we feel safe, we feel held, we're then able, as I've said, to start unraveling, to start healing, to start making friends even, you know. Like, I think for both men and women, it's so important that we start to come back together as community, to start like finding our people, finding our tribe, people that can really support us on our journeys. Like, we're not in this alone, you know, actually. Like, we all have wisdom to share and to support each other, and we've all been through so much that there's so much relatability there, I think, as well, that, you know, you see someone else's, and like on all of these podcasts, I'm sure there's so many different stories that so many of your viewers can relate to, and it's like, okay, yeah, like I'm not alone, right? And it's that acknowledgement, I think, is so beautiful. Yeah, they're just the most beautiful spaces, and when done well, I think that you leave and it stays with you forever, these experiences, you know. You make friends for life, and you make memories for life. You heal on such a level that you don't even realize that you're healing, really, until you leave and you're like, oh my gosh, what was that? Yeah, they're incredible, and I'm just so proud and excited that we are starting to create these gorgeous transformational experiences for others.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on that, I think that the things that we're bringing to the space are not things that we're taught, and they're life skills and tools to have you cope through anything that life throws at you, and to thrive and to stay young and alive, rather than just on autopilot. And but they're so powerful and profound, because one, we don't know how to do, and just going back to the doing and being, and we've had conversations, Jess and I, where people might say, how have you shifted so much in the last however many years? And it's actually been a whole lot of doing the practices that you emerge into this different state of being. And all of the magic that life can offer, like going back to the law of attraction, you know, and people wondering why it doesn't work. It does. The laws of the universe work, but it takes a while to unpick and unravel, to actually be what it is that we read about and that we understand conceptually. But unless you're being it and living it, and that takes practice, as anything does. But we don't have these spaces in our usual life, and so they're so powerful and essential, because we weren't born just to do, you know, we're in this rat race, hamster wheel. People that, you know, illness and dis-ease is at an all-time high. Stuff that we've never even existed on this planet now is labeled and exists. Why? Something's off. I'm not going to say wrong, because it's not. And maybe we had to get this far in life, in humanity, like really at a point of pressure where we have to look at ourselves. You know, it's like, yeah. And so we're being really encouraged, and those that are ready to, we've said the word journey a lot, but you could switch that out to life, because you don't have to be on a similar pathway to Jess or even you, Stella, or any of us that you've watched it. Your journey is your life, and it's, you know, how do you want to live it? What is meaningful to you? What do you want to achieve, or for this to mean before you pass? And I don't say that with heaviness. I just say that with, you know, life is flying past. We are in April and it's short. And how do you want to live it? You know, on your own terms. What is it that you want to experience? And I ask myself those questions. And for me, it's meaningful connections. You know, it's our connections with each other. And when we just going back to the sacred feminine, women together, everyone together, but women together with the power of their wombs and their creative energy and their magic and their intuition is super powerful. And you know, hundreds of years ago, we were made to hate each other, and that still runs through our DNA. And we're a community and a culture that there's a real conflict within women. You know, women feel insecure and jealous, and you know, there's lots of still some wounds there, and these sisterhood spaces, we're able to transmute that with the, you know, the serpent energy, and come together how we are meant to, or how we work best with each other, and create some real powerful change, not just for the women, but for the space holders, because that's what we're powerful in doing, for then the men. And for everyone.
You know, when those women come into those spaces and they do the healing and the work on themselves, it does create a ripple effect, because then they go back home and their entire family feels the shift. It happens. And I speak from my own experience and from my clients' experience, and from anyone that I know who has done the work on themselves. And what you create is so precious. And you said it there, Gemma, meaningful connections. I think this is so important, because if I look online, if I look on social media, there is always this idea that, well, who looks younger at an older age, or like let's see who like invested as much as possible in like lots of different changes in their body to look as young as possible. And that's nothing wrong with that if that's for themselves. But when they do it so that other people don't judge them, that is painful, because like, what about us opening up and like really honoring every stage of our life in safe circles? Because you will never be like at 50, 60, you will not be the 20 years old person, because you have been through so much and your body has changed. And it's like to go into these spaces and feel that you can open up as who you are, it's super precious. So I know that both of you are creating amazing retreats for women. Would you like to talk about this? What can women expect once they come into these spaces, and what kind of shifts or transformations can happen once they're there with you, and after that as well, because it's ongoing.
I just want to make a point before we go on to that about something you said there, which relates into our retreats, that they're for every woman at every age, and part of working, and discovering the sacred feminine is there's a realization that our culture has made us disregard the wise woman, and she is the most powerful person on this planet. She is the embodiment of wisdom and experience of being able to bring all of these tools that make us powerful as women, and lead the next generation. Now, we don't have this reverence anymore, but the wise women are there. They've even been made to hate themselves once they've been through the change, and that now they're useless and they want to look younger, and that's been programmed into us. And so just wanted to touch on that. There's this, people might look at us and think, well, you're two young girls, but actually a lot of our clients are wise women, and a lot of our sisters are wise women, and we've spent most of our time in our life growing up around older women. And so I'm going to let Jess share a bit more about what to expect at retreats, but yeah, our spaces are open, and you will find every age of woman, type of woman, around the world women, in these spaces. So you will feel very welcome and included. I'll let Jess share a bit more.
Yeah, I think it's so important to know that you can show up wherever you are on your journey in your life, like wherever you are at, like you are welcome. You're welcome with all of your emotions, your tears, your joy, your trauma, whatever it is that you're ready to let go of. There's no expectations. This is really a space for you to go as deep as that you want to go. And I think as women, like, we're always trying to just hold it all together all the time, and not just for ourselves, but for everybody else. So to actually be able to come to a space and let it all out, let it all go, to show up exactly as you are, whether, whatever that looks like, and be accepted and loved and held in that, is just so beautiful. And yeah, I think everything is an open invitation, what we offer on these retreats. You can literally come and just rest. And, in that, for women, is so healing, that you actually prioritize yourself to come for a weekend where you can just sit around the fire, you can use the jacuzzi, you can use the sauna, you can sing with us, dance with us, whatever you feel called to. But then there's also these really powerful practices that are really simple, actually, which I think is so important. It's not like these really intricate things. They're actually really simple things that we can then learn, practice, continually, what's the word? Like repeat, and in that repetition, and creating that structure and that routine, you can then take this home into your everyday life. And you have these tools that that can bring you back into that energy of what was created, and into that memory and into that healing. Yeah, I think that it will blow your mind. Any retreat that's done mindfully, through love, and from the heart. There's just so much magic that can be found for yourself, but as you say, also for your family, that you can take home, and you're then showing up better in your world, or more your true authentic self. And it's such a gorgeous space to be able to discover that. Come and discover who you are.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Did you want to say anything else, Gemma, regarding the retreats? Because I know you mentioned them. You're muted.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't think so. I like Jess said, there's so many different reasons that people come, and there's you might come and you might be thinking, actually, I just need some alone time, and this is a sisterhood circle, but actually you find you are coming to the retreat alone, and you have the choice to participate. And even if you choose not to, you're not excluding yourself. It's just what you need in that time. And you know, there's going to be an opportunity for downtime. There's going to be an opportunity to get involved in practices. There's opportunity to reflect, to use the facilities of, depending on, you know, where in the world we are. All the retreats are going to be slightly different because they are going to be sort of centered around a core, I don't want to give too much away, but theme. And then obviously you've got the location, which there's going to be different opportunities, whether it's more of a beach or more of a mountain, depending where in the world it is. But yeah, I think we've covered it. And if anyone ever has any questions, please do reach out to us, because it is quite new for a lot of people. And what we're really trying to hone down on at the moment is speaking a universal language, so that people understand what we do is very simple, and all of us are going through the same stuff. It might be a different story, different people, different time, but we're all the same. We have the same emotions. A lot of us are born into similar programs, similar beliefs, and even listening to women is enough, or not women, listening to any experiences and journeys, and is sometimes enough to transmute the energy within yourself without even having to do anything. You know, so there's so much power in these spaces. And what's really great on a retreat, we've got, you know, day retreats, and some people that works for them to do the day, but when you immerse yourself, you take yourself away and you immerse yourself for those 3 or 5 days, whatever it is, yeah, true transformation can happen in a moment anyway. But these are like, you know, mini little holidays where you really get to treat yourself and leave the retreat with something really special and bespoke to you.
Absolutely. And it's like you are treating yourself with intention. It's like, you know, just going somewhere, but you're going there with intention. And I love that both of you mentioned you can just choose to just relax, to just be with yourself and engage with other people there as much as you want. Because yes, there will be some people who will be like, yeah, I'm going there, I'm going to share everything. And there will be others who would say, well, I need time and I need to take it slowly. And I love that both of you mentioned you're offering this to everybody who's coming to your spaces and events and retreats. To everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video so that you know how you can connect with Gemma and Jessica. Depending on when you're going to watch this video, they might be working on other beautiful events and experiences, so make sure you're checking the description of this video. And so as we are wrapping up this episode, I would love to hear from both of you if there is like one thought that just comes to you and you want to share with the world. Imagine the viewer who's watching this video and they're thinking, okay, I absolutely enjoyed listening to this conversation. I really, really loved listening to their stories, what they're bringing into the world. And I feel that I want to just lighten up my own life with this video. After I watch this video, what would be one thought you would want to share with our viewers today? Jessica, would you want to start?
I think that you are enough, you know, that you don't need to do anything or be anyone, just you, you know, and that is enough. And just to love yourself, to put yourself first as much as you can. That self-love is so important. And yeah, that there's sisters out there for you, there's women out there that are ready to hold your hand, you know, and walk this path with you. And yeah, we're here however you need. We are here to hold you and support you however we can.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jessica. Would you like to share, Gemma?
Yeah, I got that you are exactly where you should or need to be. Comparison is the thief of joy. And so often we look at other people and we might think they're further along than me, they've got their life together more than I have. But this is another thing. Nothing is as it seems. Nothing is as it seems to you. Nothing you see online, nothing you watch. There's always more that you don't see. And so Jess and I are here to facilitate and to guide you, no matter where you are. You know, you might even think you've got your life, or you might know you've got your life, should I say, sorted. And you might think there's nothing I need to change. But there's always value in some, and for those people, it may be just connections to women, like-minded women that are on a similar journey, or, you know, you've got similar beliefs, likes and interests. But yeah, you're exactly where you should be, even as much as you might not believe that. And nothing is as it seems. So don't ever get yourself caught up on what you think is going on.
Thank
just
you.
bring yourself back to you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you, both of you, for this amazing episode. I'm very grateful for your time and your presence. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video today. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, let us know your thoughts, and check out the description of the video to know how you can connect with Gemma and Jessica and myself. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.